best of everything. I am Ruben Paul, and as you can see, I just got my stimulus check, so I'm out of house. And across from me is my brother, who's a little jealous right now.
Yeah, coming live from the trailer park.
You got to upgrade. You guys listening, since everything is being done virtually right now, I have a backdrop that's on my vision board. So I'm in a mansion.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Your name today should be Rube Legend, because that looks like something John Legend would have in his place.
In the background, the piano and everything.
The piano.
But let me introduce you properly, everybody. You know whose voice that is. That's the one and only, the very funny Mr. Johnny Sanchez. What up, brother?
What's up, man?
You're wearing the beard, man. I told you I like you with the beard, man.
Well, I like you with I just been lazy. What I have to do, though, is I do have to shave right here down.
Of course, yeah.
This part here, dude. I don't know how guys allow that down there, man. I cannot. I'm just scratching at my face constantly. So I did a little bit, and I was like, I can leave it for right now. You know what I mean? But yeah, you say you like it, but
yeah, I think it gives you a different look. Didn't you book something before with facial hair?
Yeah, remember I told you for a while there, I remember I had the goatee.
Yeah.
And I was getting callbacks left and right. And I ended up booking that Raising Hope. Remember that series, Raising Hope?
Yeah.
And I was overweight then, dude. So I looked very chubby Mexican.
But isn't it interesting, like how, in Hollywood, like you have your perception of where you feel like you look best and what you should look like. And then, like you said, you're a little overweight, you had the beard, and then you're booking stuff because when people are writing stuff, they go, oh, that's the guy right there. And me and you have talked about a good friend of ours, Mr. Craig Robinson. And Craig, what a lot of people don't realize, used to be skinny, Yeah. And I remember seeing him at the Improv. This is years ago. I don't know if Craig would even remember this. I was like, damn, man. I said, you putting on some weight. And he was like, yo, man, the more weight I put on, the more work I get, So at the point, you make a decision like, yo, dude, I'm working. And it's like some of these other guys that we talk about in stand-up. When you become a successful stand-up, like let's say a John Panette, rest in peace, who got really popular from being fat. And then it's tough to lose the weight because you do a lot of jokes about being heavy, So it's
And remember when he dropped all that weight?
Mm-hmm.
And then that was 80% of his set was gone.
Yeah.
80% of his weight and 80% of his set, dude, because it was all about how much he loved food and the buffets and all this stuff. And then he was, of course, going, hey, I lost weight. Now the material changes. And it was interesting, too, because I don't know if he did this career-wise, but, he ended up putting the weight back on.
Yes.
So,
and it's tough. And we talked about this, and it's tough for somebody like Gabriel, like Fluffy. You know what I mean? The conversation has always been like, okay, he's a funny dude outright. His success speaks for itself.
Yeah.
But, it would be tough to make that transition from, what he looks like today to be like 150 pounds. You know what I mean?
I remember there was a while back about, what was that? It was around, I remember because it was when I first came back out here. So this is 2014 when he had dropped a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. And good for him because it's for health purposes. But now all of a sudden, you're Fluffy, and then you got to change your moniker. You got to go to Flappy, or you got to go to Flacco. I mean, it's like a whole shift, dude. Like, but health is first. It's almost like I think about someone like on the Latino end of it. I always think about someone like Luis Guzman, dude.
Mm.
Okay, this dude who's been in over 100 movies, but he's always the scruffy, sloppy, overweight Hispanic dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, could you imagine if the doctor told him, "Hey, your cholesterol's bad, your high blood pressure, and he lost a ton of weight and got down to 150 or something? honestly, even with all of his already past credits, I don't know that he would work the same anymore, dude.
Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, because I feel like when they cast him, it's almost like, all right, let's put Luis in this. You know, love him. They're gonna see the chubby Jew, the chubby Hispanic. They don't know his name maybe, or some Jew or whatever. Because I would always hear people, that really funny chubby Hispanic guy. I would always hear that.
Yeah, and how about the guy? He was the white dude who was in all those movies and lost the weight. Funny guy. What's his name?
Eric Edwards, the comic we knew.
No. He was in the movie with and everyone got mad when he lost weight.
Oh, you're talking about Jonah
Hill.
Jonah Hill.
Yes, good job. Interesting. Art Roseman just popped in. I don't know if you remember Art from Sacramento. He used to live there, but it kind of leads me to what me and you were talking about off air. He lives in Minnesota now, and wow, Art would have been a great guest to have on. I should get Art on. Art was a very funny comic. Moved to Minnesota.
Yeah.
And has been living there for a while. If I'm not mistaken, he's still there. But what's been going on in our world has been very disturbing. Obviously, everyone's struggling, or not struggling, but dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic that's affected the world.
Yeah.
And then now, dealing with these social issues that we hear. Racism has been a pandemic in this country for a long time. And hey, Angelo Sarukis. And
hey, Angelo. Opa. All right.
Art said he worked with you. Art said he worked with you at Acme Comedy Club before in Minnesota.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh man, that was a great room, man.
Yeah. But getting back to just a lot of these social issues that we're dealing with, it's just disheartening, man. To see what's going on. Like, as a Black man, this is nothing new. I just saw a video earlier of this white man. These young Black men were working out in this office building gym, and this guy comes in and goes, "What are you guys doing in here?" And they're like, "Working out." And he goes, "Why are you guys in here? You shouldn't be in here." And they're like, "We have an office in the building." He goes, "Where?" Like, dude, you're not a cop. You don't have the building. I don't have to answer to you. And Johnny, I've told you this. I've dealt with that situation so many times, man, where people assume that I don't belong there, and they question me. And somebody might go, "Well, why do you think it's about race?" Well, because there are white people in there, and they didn't go up to any of them, and they didn't know them either. And I've had white people come up to me after the fact and go, "Why did he come up and question you?"
Right.
And then I look at him and go, "You know why?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like you were talking about sitting out front of on your own street, and you pull over to have a conversation, and the white lady was like, "What are you doing here? Why are you sitting in your car talking?" Yeah.
"Why are you parked here?" She asked me. And I wasn't parked illegally. It was street parking, and I was in front of my place. And she goes, "Why are you parked here?"
Yeah.
"Who are you?"
And what did you? This is what I love, though. What did you do?
I rolled up my window. Like, bitch, I don't have to answer you.
Yeah, but what's scary about that is there are those people, there are those white people who in a situation like that, there are those other ones. You roll up the window, and then Karen goes, "Oh, I'm calling the cops then."
Yeah.
You didn't answer my question.
And here's this thing, man, about this calling the cops, and what I think, a lot of people who want to always play the devil's advocate on things is, you got to look at the history of this country and how, the police force evolved. Now, I'm not anti-police. I'm just
Sure.
anti-racism. And there are a lot of bad cops out there. And there are some good cops out there. Like I'm on record, my godfather was one of the first Black detectives on the LAPD. I've learned to respect law enforcement, but I've had a number of run-ins with law enforcement, and I'm a law-abiding citizen. I've never been to prison. I've never gangbanged, never committed a crime, and I've been harassed repeatedly by police officers in my lifetime. And, it's always, they always want to give police officers, the benefit of the doubt, like they're not human, like they're perfect, one phrase that I always hear that bothers me is a police officer's job is to get home safely to their family at night. No, that's not a police officer's job. That's not their job.
Right.
You want to get home to your family at night. The guy that works at McDonald's, the guy that works at 7-Eleven, the guy who's an accountant, everybody wants to get home to their family or not, but you swore an oath to serve and protect. And that's what you're supposed to do. My godfather knew there was risk in his job. So when you take a job as a police officer, you can get killed in the line of duty, but your job is to do your job. That's what you signed up for. That's like, a football player, saying my job is not to get hurt. Well, why did you play football? It's a contact sport. You're to protect and serve. That's your job, not to get home safely to your family. And I think the fact that, people always say like there's a lot, not all cops are bad. Not all cops aren't bad, but it's incumbent upon the good cops to call out the bad cops.
Well, yeah. And I actually saw someone post, he's a more up and coming stand-up, but he wanted to go into the police. He was before comedy. He wanted to get into, and thought about being a cop. So he went to some training, and at one of the orientations, he said he was shocked that the main focus was not, hey, it's about to protect and serve. It's about your community. It's about being, fair with race and all this other stuff. He said the main thing they couldn't stop talking about and hammering in was it's about backing up your partner and your fellow cops. You don't go talk to the superiors if they're doing something wrong. If there is an issue, you don't say, yeah, that's what he did. You have your partner's back all the time, because a lot of people were bringing up the Asian guy, the Asian police officer, Tao Thao or Tu Thao, however you pronounce his name, how he just stood there, man. And all he had to say was, okay, man, you know what I mean? Like, yo, let him, we're good now. We're good.
Yeah. And Johnny, he was already subdued. And the guy just stayed there like he was an animal,
right?
And it's like they dehumanize us, and that's why it makes it easier to justify those actions. And I heard somebody, I read a comment. Somebody says, "Well, if every Black person that I see get shot isn't complying and isn't resisting, to kind of put forth that." There's no white people that never comply. That's something like, well, if you comply, it wouldn't happen. But you got to understand, the history of what's going on. You don't know the situation. You don't know exactly like if you've been messed with constantly over and over and over and over and over again, and then one day another cop harasses you, that could be it for you that day. Like, no, dude, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. And at the end of the day, a lot of these people are getting murdered unarmed.
Right.
So as a cop, don't they train you to be able to tase or subdue or to do anything other than shoot to kill? We see white counterparts be brought in, violent white offenders be brought in with no harm at all. It's like we're taught like we're these superheroes or something. And hey, man, if you see a Black person, put them down, dude. Put them down. It doesn't matter. And it's very scary, man, because, it's young people and not this case with George Floyd, but just the young kid that got killed in the park with a toy gun. He doesn't get the benefit of the doubt of being a child. He's just a black face that looks to be armed, so let's put him down. There's no, hey, drop the gun. There's no negotiations or whatever, and that's the very disheartening point. Is we're always assumed guilty before innocent, and the cops always get the benefit of the doubt before us. But if it's a white person, we look at them as human. Like, that could be somebody's son, that could be somebody's daughter, that can be somebody's husband, that can be somebody's father. We looked at them human. We're always shown as thugs or danger. I mean, look at this guy that in Central Park, a black guy that was a bird watcher. Now, everybody thinks that's funny because you never hear black people bird watching, but I'm sure.
Yeah, it's different.
You know what I mean? But I'm sure there's thousands of people bird watching. And the onus, a lot of times, like I said about good cops, holding bad cops accountable, I think it's good white people to hold, the racists accountable. Not saying all white people are racist, but anybody. Like, it can't just be us. It can't just be blacks and Latinos saying, hey, this is racist, this is wrong. If you're seeing something wrong that's going on, it helps if you speak out too, if they hear it from another voice, so it just doesn't become white noise, no pun intended.
Right. But with that lady too, thankfully she surrendered her dog. There was a lot of people who were like, she's literally choking out her dog in that whole incident as well. The dog is basically, she's so fixated on this dude and calling the cops on this guy that she's literally almost choked out the rescue dog in the process. So thank goodness she doesn't own that dog anymore. I think they contacted her where she bought it. Rescued the dog a couple of years ago. But the same thing is had it also been, the roles been reversed, you can tell she's that type of person that would have been like, excuse me, sir, your dog should be on a leash. Yeah. Right? So she would have probably called the cops in the same reverse scenario. Yeah. You'd like, hey, man, I'll get it. I'll put it on when I don't just mind your business, girl. Mind your business. She would have been like, I am calling the police right now because there is a leash. There's a requirement right here. So she was just one of those people that.
And it's interesting how a lot of these racists, they know the police are on their side. They use them as a weapon. Yeah. If a white person, hey, I'll call the police because when the cops show up, they're going to be on their side. For in a lot of these situations.
A lot of this, it's a higher percentage, is what we're saying.
Yeah, we're not saying every situation, but for the most part, a lot of times, especially depending on the city that you live in or where you are, if they show up, they're going to go to the white face first and hear what they have. Hey, you hold on. Let me talk to the citizen, to the human being here first, before I get to you and what you have to say.
Of course. And she was saying, he is threatening me. So showing up already, not like, hey, I'm in a dispute, I'm having an argument with somebody. It was this black man is threatening me. And they're going to show up going, hey, man, we got a situation. There's a woman being threatened by a black man at the park. Yeah.
Yeah. The big, bad black man.
Right.
Like we're the boogeyman. It's just, it's frustrating, dude.
It's so hard. Now, earlier I saw the newer footage, going back to George Floyd now. The newer footage from that restaurant, the Dragon Walk, that they went ahead and released their surveillance, and it's everything that happened leading up to, and then they're they're gonna have to find some other security cameras, and the vehicle park. The two cops walk over. I guess they come from the liquor store nearby where he allegedly tried to pass a fake $10 bill. Okay. Yeah. So they're getting him out of the vehicle. They get the other two people out. It's just the two cops. It's neither one of these guys are the cops that are in the video at the end. Okay. These guys make the initial arrest. And, you could see Jordan, you could see him at one point there. They pick him up once they cuff him. But he's sort of flopping, right? He's sort of like, he's not resisting. You could just see that he's stalling. You know what I'm saying? Like He just doesn't want to deal with this, so he's trying to like buy his time. They get him up to the wall, and you could see him kind of. So they decide to walk him across the street, and then the camera follows him across the street. The second police officer that was a Minneapolis Park Police, I don't know if that's a difference, but he pulled around, and even before he pulled around and then blocked the shot from that camera, they have him near their squad car. And again, he kind of flops again. You know what I mean? Like you see him kind of go down, so they have to pick him up. That's all he's really doing. He's not trying to run. He's not kicking. He's already cuffed, by the way. They cuffed him as soon as he got out of the vehicle. It wasn't even a situation where he had a chance to get his hands free. So, but he's just doing that typical stalling thing. And then it's weird. The police officer pulls around and he blocks. Just by chance, dude. You cannot see any more from that angle because that third squad car gets in the way of that shot. And then they're gonna, but they have their body cams on too. That'll be interesting to see why that police officer in particular, Derek, that's spelled with 3 Ks, by the way. Derek, Halvin, and Thao, however that's pronounced. Why, it ended up with that guy, that particular cop with the knee cutting off his blood flow. Like I just read just before we got on there's a gentleman that was trained and he said, we are trained not to do that. He goes, this guy is 100% wrong. He's either cutting the blood flow off or he's cutting the windpipe off, obviously. So, and for that long, man, that is like 7 minutes, bro. That is just, I mean, and you know how you and I are those people, we get affected by these things. Like, I listen, of course I had to watch the video because I didn't want to be a person that's like, I can't watch it because then it's sort of like this denial thing. But I hate when I do watch it afterwards because I'm so affected by that. By the way, I feel like I just literally was watching somebody, taking their last breath. Dude, I've never really seen that before, I mean.
Johnny, when you have a grown man yell out mama, that yelled for his mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, and how callous that cop was. He had his hand in his pocket. It's just, it's just no respect for Black life. And then people always, get upset. Like some of these racists get upset when you say Black Lives Matter. And it's like, all lives matter. Yeah, all lives matter. But there's a reason why somebody had to come up with the phrase Black Lives Matter. There's a reason why they have to be Black award shows and Latino award shows and all these things, because when there isn't something happening, then we have to create it. If we see a situation where we feel like Black lives aren't being, what's the word I'm trying to say?
Acknowledged.
Black lives are acknowledged are respected.
Respected, right.
Then we have to say something. And there's always this thing, that drives me crazy. Like, well, what about Black on Black crime? First of all, that is a phrase that infuriates me. I wrote a joke about that years ago where it's like, oh, like Black people are the only people that kill each other.
Right.
Like, Black people are the only people, like everyone else is dying of natural causes. No one else kills each other.
Yeah.
And that is a phrase that has been, held on to, by the media and to create this narrative. The Black people kill people? Absolutely. The Mexicans kill Mexicans? Absolutely. The Asians kill
Asians.
Everybody kills each other. You kill where you live. You know what I mean? And to grab on to this phrase, and even as Black people, I know some Black people who will bring that up too, and it's not shedding responsibility for accountability, I should say, for ourselves, but at the same time, the police killing you is troubling because we pay taxes and we're paying these, and they took an oath. You know what I mean? And I'm not even going to talk about the conditions that have been created in some of these communities that cause this type of behavior. When you put people in conditions of poverty and lack of education and resources, which is systematic, this is the result that you're going to see. So it's just very disheartening, and I just hope that a change is going to come, and I hope it's not by fighting violence with violence, but sometimes that is the only thing. I don't condone it, but sometimes that's the only thing that brings about change.
Do you think that I always wonder this when we're showing not only with George Floyd is obviously that's a police thing, but a lot of this gets created because people wrongfully accuse and call the cops on minorities. And I always wonder if there's got to be, but I always wonder about those white people who see the footage of the girl in Central Park, who maybe they saw the footage of I don't know if you saw the big, ugly, fat white lady that was telling the Latinos to turn their music off because it was Spanish music. And she was like, "You Mexicans." And at one point they go, "We're not Mexican." So they were a different culture altogether. And she's like, "This is America. Quit play American music. First of all, America is a Spanish word." It's like you just see these uneducated. And I wonder if there's those types of people sit back and watch the news and watch these videos. And there has to be some that go, "Oh no, I'm not going to stop doing any of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick my nose in all the minorities' business."
Yeah, because
people who don't get that message, like let other people do their thing unless it's really totally affecting you in some way.
But it's like they treat us like we're visitors in their country and like not American. Like we're a country full of immigrants.
They're immigrants. All the white people came from different areas. There were people here already. It's amazing to me that there's people who can't grasp that.
Yeah, and they treat us like even the story that I told you about the man at the office building saying he was going to call the police on the black tenants that was there. His exact words is like, "I'm going to call 911. Like I'm going to call my friends, and we'll see what you say when my friends get here." And that mentality is it's super dangerous because the police has been used to weaponize against us, man.
Hey, hey, my cousin Jimmy, who, by the way, went to Huntington Beach over the Memorial Weekend. And, he can do illegal stuff and not worry about it because Jimmy's half white. My cousin Jimmy's half white. So, he looks like a white dude. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know it's true, Jimmy. Anyway, so Jimmy doesn't have to go through the stuff that you and I go through because he's got that half blood. But
so Art just asked the question, Johnny. He said, I mentioned that I've had several run-ins with the cops. He wants to know, have you had any run-ins with?
Yeah, remember we remember I was telling you about but this was a long time ago, but I'll mention it again. It happened a couple of times, and I'll condense it. But one time, this was back when I was living with my buddy Anthony and my other roommate, and it was late. It was around midnight, 12:30. And I went, "Oh man, I wasn't sure if I was parked on the street sweeping side or not." You know how that is in LA. Like, Oh man, am I parked in the wrong? Am I going to get a ticket? Or do I have to get up at 7 a.m. to move it? So I go, "Hey guys, I'll be right back." I went downstairs, through the alley, over the street, took a peek, saw I was on the right side, started walking back. All of a sudden, headlights come down the alley. And then now they're red and blues, and they stop me. Now, I didn't take anything with me, okay, except my keys, because I just was going to take a peek at the street. So the cops go, "What are you doing?" There was a burglary nearby. Now, on that one, I did hear something ringing, like there was a business somewhere whose alarm was going off. So I was definitely wrong place, wrong time, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I was there. They held me for about an hour and a half, Ruben. The cops got out, and they kept the car running, and I had nothing on me. I go, "I live right here," and I was literally about 50 feet from entering our complex. I go, "I'm telling you, I live right there. We can come upstairs. I'll walk you." "Oh, no. And every time I'd go like this, dude, the one cop would go, "Stop swinging your arms at us." What?
Oh my God.
So what happened? What he made me do now? This was a Hispanic cop, which my dad always used to say. So a lot of the Hispanic cops are the worst to their own, right? He gets in his car. He makes me put my hands on their, and then his buddy was standing there, standing guard, and he made me put my hands on the hood while he kept the engine running. So after about 15, 20 minutes, I kept giving him my social security number, my driver's license number, everything, dude, over. And he was giving me that again over. My hands are getting hot. I was like, hey, I can't keep my hand. So this guy's a jerk, dude, for over an hour. We go through this. Finally, he says he finds me. He goes, all right, well, there was a burglary, and, you should always bring your ID. And I go, but I'm right here. I go upstairs, and I remember seeing Anthony. I go, hey, guys, you guys weren't you worried about where I was? I mean, I had no cell phone on me, nothing. And they were like, yeah, we were kind of wondering what happened to you. An hour and 15, 20 minutes later, you know what I mean? And then it happened one time when I was leaving the Laugh Factory. I was walking, I used to park on Hollywood Boulevard, right? Go up Laurel Avenue.
Yeah.
My street, yeah. And then and it started to sprinkle. So I put my hoodie on. And as I'm walking, getting ready to take that right turn on the Hollywood Boulevard right there where I was parking, I could feel the car behind me just following. So I turn the corner. I'm about 2 cars away, Ruben, to get in my vehicle. They put the flashlight on. They light up. They get out. Hey, hold on right there. What are you doing? I go, I just got through doing a show at the Laugh Factory. My name's on the marquee, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just happened to be on the marquee that night. And they're like, they do the whole, I go, my car's right there. Take it easy. Come over here. Same thing, dude. They keep me there for a good 30, 45 minutes before that they give me the clear. Here's the funny thing. Same excuse. Well, I go, what's the problem? Why are you stopping me? Because I have a hoodie on? And they're like, oh, no, there was a burglar in the neighborhood. So, dude, what if I just was having, or I had somewhere to be, I was in a bad mood, you're in one of those things where you don't want to deal with it, and you just be like, this, you guys got to be kidding me. This is bullshit. And something escalated.
Absolutely.
It's all because I was walking to my vehicle and I was walking back to my apartment at the time.
And the point I was going to bring up, Johnny, is these stories that you just told me. What if this happened to you 4 times in 1 month, right? And then this happens to you, you're like, enough of this shit. I fit the description 4 times already this month, dude. So, and you're not talking to me respectfully like a human being, right. Even when I stop and comply, they don't even realize the disrespectful shit. People go, well, they're not compliant. Who knows what was said verbally before? Like, I mean, I've had people go, hey, what's your gang name? Gang name?
Oh my God.
You don't have a gang name, huh, brother?
Yeah.
Come on, dude. Like sometimes like, yo, I don't want to put up with the shit. When you've been dealing with this your whole life and you haven't done anything wrong, it's easy for people to say, well, just comply, just listen to them. It's like, but you're not dealing with this on a constant basis. I remember I had one of my white friends riding with me in the car, and we got pulled over, and I said, and I know how he is, and I was like, yo, dude, please don't say anything to the cops, man. Let's just get through this. And he was shocked on how this cop was talking to me. And he wanted to say something. I'm like, dude,
yeah.
I'll deal with this disrespect today. And all the times like, I can't believe you put up with that shit. I've never done this. Man, I used to think that you had to get out of the car when the cops pulled you over. I didn't know for years until my friend's dad was an attorney. He's like, Ruben, you don't have to get out of the car. They don't have the right to search your car or do anything, but I was used to it. And I'll never forget this, man. I was coming home late one night, and I was in Hawthorne. Okay. And it was maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, and the cops pulled me over, and I have my whole routine, man. And I rolled down my window, and I stuck both hands out the window. And he walked up to the window and was like, put your hands down, man. And I go, hey, man, I just wanted you to know that I'm not armed. My hands are down. He's like, man, I was just telling you, your tail light is out. And I go, dude, you think that that's what I'm thinking that you're going to do?
Right.
as a black man in America, as much as I've been harassed by cops and being a law-abiding citizen, you think I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt?
Yeah, right.
Because if I didn't, you know how many times I've been yelled at for not having my hands out?
Yeah.
So there's just this disconnect, man. And it's like no one really wants to have honest conversations about race, and everyone wants to talk about personal responsibility, which is very important, which I'm all for.
Sure, me too.
But you can't operate on the premise that everything is equal, that we're all equal and we're all being treated fairly. Right. To me, that's where the disconnect is. It's not saying that people shouldn't abide by the law, but you got to bring the human element into it also, on what you as a human being would put up with on a constant day-to-day basis. When you've been followed in the liquor store, when you've been talked to crazy on this person, when this person asks you why you're somewhere, are you being harassed by this? Like all this shit that happens repeatedly on a day-to-day basis, at some point you're going to explode. You might wake up like, man, not today, man. I'm not putting up with anybody's shit today. We've all done it with human beings, you know, where you go to work and be like, hey, man, I'm not putting up with that today. Or a teacher can go to class like, hey, I'm sending you to the principal's office. Yeah. I'm putting up with that today.
Right.
You know? And we have that right as human beings, man. And we shouldn't be terrified of the cops, but they've been used as a weapon against the black community for decades.
Well, I wonder what it was like for your uncle, right? Who was the first black police chief?
My godfather.
Yeah. He was the first black police chief in the city of Los Angeles, or what was it specifically?
He was one of the first black detectives in the LAPD.
Oh, detective in LAPD. So,
and he started, you know, the joke that I do. He started when we segregated. Remember?
Yes. Yeah. You know what? Explain that to everybody too, because I feel like so it gives a little history of like how police department was back then.
I can't tell you the exact year. Man, I would do anything.
60s, right? Which you would guess it was the 60s.
Yeah. And man, I'd give almost anything to be able to sit down and have a conversation with him.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. He
was just such a great, honorable man. And just a fair dude. But he's just telling me these great stories. And
agreed, by the way. My cousin. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. He used to just tell me these great stories about when he was a cop, and he's, you know, back then, you know, black cops rode with black cops, and you would police your neighborhoods, and a lot in the community, you know, at that time, you know, really felt like they were talking to people that understood them, and he said he would rarely have to pull his gun, and if there was a crime being committed, they would know who to talk to. You know, because people would talk to the cops back then, like, "Hey, man, you know, not condoning their crime, but hey, you're not committing a crime right now, but this is going on. If you can give us some information, this will keep us out of your hair, where we're not patrolling. Like, you know, help us out here." And there was a time where people used to, you know, communicate with cops, and that's why people are making a big push where, you know, you should have people that look like the people in the community policing the community. Hopefully there's some understanding. And it's sad to say, like you said, your dad told you, you know, some you know, the Mexican cops are, you know, worse to Mexican people. And there's been black cops that I've dealt with too that are worse than the white cops, where the white cop is like, hey, dude, you know, relax.
Yes.
You know? And you said something interesting earlier about, I can't remember.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Well, I wanted you, don't forget that. Tell me what it is you were going to ask me, and then we're going to get back to it.
Yeah, we're going to get back to the segregated. That's what you wanted to talk about, right? About when the force was segregated?
No, I just wanted you to, but what were you going to ask me so we remember, and then we'll jump back to it?
I was going to, no, I wasn't going to ask you anything. I was going to say in him, when he was policing during that time, I was saying that they really communicated closely with the people in those areas. And there's been a big push now in 2020 and even before to get, you know, Latino cops to police Latino neighborhoods, you know. So to give the community a feeling like, okay, I'm talking to somebody who's walked in my shoes or who came from this neighborhood, who understands the dynamic of this neighborhood and how people feel and think in these situations. And I think it needs to be more of that, because you have these white cops coming into some of these areas that have no experience of Black people. They're obviously terrified of Black people. You know what I mean? It's almost like they can't tell the difference between, a good Black person and a bad. And you can't judge people by the book by its cover anyway. But they don't even come in with even trying to understand where someone can be coming from. Where a Black cop can look at someone and go, you know what I mean? Just based on, I grew up with a guy like this.
Exactly. That's the dude I grew up with. What I wanted you to educate everybody on was when they were no longer segregated and they brought Black and white police officers together, it created something that we see today with the squad car. And what is that?
That's when the cars became black and white.
There you go, everybody. We just learned something. That was Ruben's bit.
And Johnny, it makes me laugh that people get so upset when I do that joke. No, that's not true. That's not true. I know it's a joke, man. It's a joke.
But remember, you used to go like this. You used to say it, and like some people would laugh, but you would see those other people nodding their heads or looking like that, and then you go, "Look, guys, I made it up. I'm kidding." And then you would always go, "Look at some of the people that got it," and they'd be shaking their heads like, "Yeah, we figured that makes sense."
Yeah, yeah.
White cops.
I didn't know, dude. That makes sense. Bringing the white car and the black car together in this black and white car. Yeah, dude.
I always love the reaction of the people when you told them afterward. I mean, first, initially, just you could see some people nodding their heads like, "Wow,
yeah."
That's why they're black and white." Yeah, man, I'm just kidding, motherfuckers, man. I just made that shit up. And then they'd start laughing, and then you call them out on it. So,
and Johnny, you said something interesting earlier, and I kind of want to go back to that. I can't remember exactly who you said went through the academy, and
I just read it was it's a comedian that I run into, and I feel bad that I'm forgetting his name because but he's up and coming, huh?
But the point you made was a lot of the emphasis was about having your fellow cops back,
right?
And isn't it interesting? Like in a lot of our community, there's like this no snitching, don't snitch, snitches get stitches. And it's almost the same thing with cops, man. How many countless cop movies have we seen about, hey, man, keep your mouth shut? It's about protecting the badge.
Training Day alone is.
And my godfather hated Training Day.
Oh, I bet he did.
Hated it. And I used to go, I love this movie, man. Like he took offense to that, but I got to tell you, man. Rest in peace, man. He was one of the most honest, honorable people that I've ever known. And he hated police discrimination and police brutality. And he was one of the cops, like, doing everything around him because he would speak out about it. Like, he was the guy. That's why he ended up being a detective on the police commission. He was my godfather was a real deal, man.
Art brought something up earlier, like you said, snitches, and when I mentioned what this guy said that they were like, don't rat on your, Art brought up a good point. It's a fraternity too for the cops.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just been. Oh, speaking of your godfather with I think I can understand with detective movies. I'm sure with cop shows is equivalent to my dad with boxing movies and some war movies, but mainly. But you know how he is about all the Rocky movies. Absolutely hates them. Hates them.
And what's the old adage, Johnny? Like whatever profession someone's portraying on screen, the person who does that in real life always has to critique. Man, doctors don't talk like that. Doctors don't never do that. They were like, That's not how it would go. That would never happen. And we don't know. We're like, what? You mean they don't do that? That seems real to me. It's like, oh, no, you would never do such and such, such and such. That doesn't even make sense, Yeah. So it's really, I think Hollywood owes it to a lot of these professions to try to make it as close to authentic as possible, just out of respect for people who do it. One thing that used to drive me crazy about CSI is these forensic people interrogating suspects.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you never see a scientist coming into a room to interrogate a person. They're just called to testify at trial, dude. They're not coming. What? You got some thug or somebody who committed a crime in handcuffs, and you're going to bring a scientist in and go, hey, so, like, what? You didn't make the arrest? Why are you in here, dude?
Yeah. It's so, well, what I always hate about the interrogation thing, it's that and I can't believe they get away with this episode after episode. It's the thing where they get the guy in and he's super defiant in the beginning. You guys know I'm talking, right? Go ahead. I got my lawyer. And then all of a sudden, well, maybe we'll just tell them that we have you on camera at so-and-so's house. Okay. Oh, it's so ridiculous, dude. And then they get real soft. Okay, yeah, I'll talk. I'll go ahead and be a key witness in the trial. I didn't. It wasn't my idea. Oh, and here's what I never understood, dude. With Law and Order, you have detectives coming to your workplace, and they always can. I get it for the
take off the run, right?
What's that?
And they take run.
No. Even worse is the one where I get it. Directors need this to keep the flow going, but it's like two detectives come up, they show you the badge, and the people keep working, right? They're always stacking like, oh yeah, I know who you're talking about, Artie. Yeah, he was here last week, but I haven't seen him since then. Just like, what? You're just gonna keep working. All these detectives are.
When a cop shows up, all work stops, dude. You're not going to see. They would probably tell you to stop stacking boxes. Hey, can you put that box down and talk to us for a second?
Especially if it was me. I'm sorry. Could you stop swinging those boxes at us? Okay.
Yo, dude. Television interrogation scenes are the worst.
Video shouting just said, "Why is Johnny screaming at us? We can hear you, dude." Jesus. Oh, that's funny. Coming from video shouting. Isn't that interesting?
But dude, that drives me crazy. But that actually made me stop watching CSI, man. I just couldn't take it. And my friends are like, why does it get you so mad? And I go, because this doesn't happen.
Doesn't
happen. Forensic scientists aren't coming in and questioning people. There's not a dude in a lab coat that's going to come question a suspect. It's not like, but that show went on for years, dude. And we sit back and go, and just in case somebody goes, no, can't. I remember being on this girl, I can't remember her name. You just strike up.
Repeat that. Repeat it. You're breaking up. Repeat that.
I was on an airplane sitting next to this girl one time. You just strike up conversations on a plane just randomly. And her father was a forensics expert in Seattle. And this annoyed me so much. I go, can I ask you something? And she was like, yeah. And I go, so your dad, goes to crime. Yeah. You ever question a suspect? And dude, she was like, no way. She's like, are you kidding me? So that would always drive me crazy because I just, I guess they did it for creative purposes, but if somebody knows something different, please email us, let us know. But as far as I've been told, as far as any research that I've done, is forensics do not interrogate criminals. Like, that's not even in their job description. Are you gonna get the person who does the autopsy to come in? Like, huh? Come on, stop it. What up, Paul D's?
Well, I actually miss Vinny's like, miss you guys. Can you believe I actually miss Vinny O'Shouting's shouting?
Vinny's my boy, man. Paul D's, hope you're holding up well. Everybody listening out there, I know we talked about a lot
I can't wait to see everybody and hang out. And Ruben and I already talked about this, Vinny, with like, it's going to be that thing where even if a comic runs the light,
yeah,
we're going to be like, that's all right, man. He was quarantined for 3 months. Come on.
Not me, man, because I'd be like, hey, man, we were all in quarantine, man. Don't be running the damn light.
Wait, you're not going to run the light?
We're on record with Ralph Harris talking about how you burn the light. On record, brother. On record.
And that was one of two things. Either he thought my early light.
Johnny, it's over. It's over, bro.
I didn't want to get into it with him.
It's over, brother.
There's no way I did 30. And if they stretched me, I'm telling you. Anyway.
You're still. It's over, John. It's okay, man.
Because that's the first time I've ever worked with Ralph in Long Beach, and I know he doesn't know the system there that they let you. You're the one who gets frustrated about it. But anyway, listen, I want to say something. We were talking about boxing, and my dad. I forgot you. Today is my dad's birthday.
Oh, hello, Mr. Sanchez. Happy birthday! What?
I wanted you to think I froze. Did you think I froze for a second?
I'm irritated about that. All right, ¿qué pasó, Mr. Sanchez? Happy birthday!
Yeah, my cousin Jimmy knows my dad doesn't talk like that. Okay, but anyway, it sucks because he turned 85, and we wanted to have a big thing this year, dude. So, but here's the thing: I talked to him earlier today, and he doesn't know that my sister. My two sisters are gonna do the I hate using the word drive-by birthday. That just sounds so weird. That the whole drive-by thing is like, but it's true. I mean, he doesn't know, so they're gonna go by at 7:30 tonight, and my mom's gonna get him out there, and they're gonna honk and do all that. Here's the thing, dude. In Tulare, it's 107 today.
Wow. Well, first of all, happy birthday, Mr. Sanchez, and please send him my love. That's my boy, man. So send him my love. Tell him happy birthday.
I will. Hey, let me ask you something. How do you? I just saw that you wrote, to Paul D's. How do you?
How am I making comment?
No. I can see where I comment. But I tried one time to like somebody's comment while we're live.
Uh-huh.
How do I do somebody's specific comment? Because I tapped on it and it didn't do anything.
Johnny, I don't know because I'm doing it through the app, through StreamYard. So I'm not doing
it. Through the what?
Doing it through the program, through the StreamYard program. I'm not actually on Facebook doing it.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Hey man, we should do some of our own. I mean, you and I could do it together. We don't have to we do it remotely probably, but we could do it remotely too. But we got to do our own interrogation scenes, dude.
Oh, we got to. This is what I want to ask you, and I mean this obviously can be a conversation we have off air, but like Rogan and different people have been going in. Would you be opposed to going into the studio with the social distancing?
Well, I thought a while back, I was like, we could sit all the way across the table.
Yeah.
Is number one. Now here's what got me a little, for those of you who don't know, I was already a pre-germaphobe guy anyway, but They did this thing last night. Diane Sawyer did a special, and then they did that. You know, the illuminating the spit of people.
Yeah.
And dude, a sneeze went 15 feet.
Well, I mean, that's if you don't cover your mouth or your, you know.
We know how big. But here's the thing: they did this really cool thing. They had somebody talking to somebody else, going, "Hey, man, it's great to see you," and they're showing all the droplets come out.
Yeah.
It's going about 2-3 feet, but a bunch. And then they had the person say the same thing with a mask on, and there's like just a few little droplets coming out. It's really cool to see that. But I think we should discuss it. But we're going to have to talk to your boy Chris, because your boy Chris just posted yesterday that he has an immune system that is inconquerable. He's invincible, and he will not wear masks anywhere, and he doesn't care about infecting people because doesn't have it. He's never going to get it, and only 0.02% people die of it. So we're going to have a talk with your boy, your engineer boy. Okay?
Why I brought it up is because, you know, sometimes on this podcast, you know, during this quarantine is, you know, we have you know, these issues, you know what I mean? Sometimes we have these connection issues, and so that gets frustrating.
I know. Look, I mean, I don't mean this it's going to come off kind of jerky, but you're the one that seems to have the most I don't know why you have more glitches than I do.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think it just depends. I mean, on the Russell thing and on the, I mean, we've all had issues, and some of the issues that I think.
But go ahead. I probably had one.
We can go back over the episodes. I mean, there's times where you had to shut off and come back on. That was when
I was on my. No, it did happen with my computer. You're right. Okay.
Oh, I don't. To be honest, Johnny, I don't think it's nothing that we're doing wrong. It's nothing that you're doing wrong. It's just there's so much. You know, there's even when you call like the internet companies, they talk about, you know, connections slowing down because more people are on it at home and all these.
By the way, dude, not to interrupt you, but again with the professionals, Jimmy, I'm going to tell that story. Hold on. With the professionals, on The View today was Zach Braff and Faison. They were both coming remotely. Faison was in his closet with all his clothes hanging. I think he was going for comedic effect. And then Zach, dude, both of these guys froze up and had delays the entire interview. And you can see Whoopi, poor Whoopi, dude, was trying to time it out, and then they would freeze, and you know, so it's everybody. I'm not against. What I like about this is I love not having to drive, but traffic is really not bad right now.
Yeah.
So we should probably discuss it. But anyway, my cousin Jimmy wanted me to tell you that I used to do a spoof before I moved to LA. I used to do parodies with my giant camcorder, and the little series was called Pigs instead of Cops, but it was a parody of Cops. And he came into town, and anyway, he was one of the crooks, but we were interrogating him over a head of lettuce. Dude, I have those videos. I have all those old VHS videos, man.
This is pre you coming to LA to do stand up?
Pre LA, dude. This is late 80s. I bought a $1,200 or $1,500 Panasonic camcorder it was top of the line, dude. It had special effects right here. You can do slow motion and like shutter and all that stuff. So I used to shoot a bunch of stuff, a lot of comedies, and then,
You used to be so proactive.
Yeah, I should have stayed in Solari.
Nah, your dad would be like, "I told you you'd be back." But all right, man, let's wrap it up. But thank you guys for listening and joining in. And here's the irony, Johnny. We had very little to no issues in this recording because there's only two of us. That's been another thing when three of us get in, you know? So it's
also, just so everybody knows, you know, Ruben obviously, you know, got a stimulus check. He's in a new place now.
Yeah.
And those are not pixels you see. He sprinkled bling on his cap and his top of his sweater on the shoulders.
Yeah, you know what it is, son. You know, man. You know what it is.
I know, cut. What up, cut?
But anyway, man, thank you guys. for listening. Happy birthday once again to Mr. Sanchez. Everybody sending out their love to him. And
Jimmy. Yeah. Happy birthday to my dad. And I'll have to call him later tonight and find out how he enjoyed that little birthday. I hate that term. Just the birthday.
The drive-by, man. They're driving by the show.
It's like, it just sounds so like, yeah, you're not gonna believe what we did, yeah, we did a drive-by. No, I'm just kidding. Not that drive-by, eh? No, birthday one, eh? You know what I mean?
Anyway, to everyone listening,
thank you guys.
Yeah, to everyone listening, please share the episode, tell a friend, go to iTunes or Google Play or whatever. Leave positive comments if you enjoy the podcast, and we just thank you guys.
Share all right.
Yeah,
we out.
And on iTunes, Google Play,
Spotify, YouTube,
and basically anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find the best of everything. Ruben Paul,
Swap Meet.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. We out.
Ruby motherfucking Tuesdays.
This show is all about diversity and bringing everyone together. You never know who you're going to see at Ruby Tuesdays.